Hello, everybody. Welcome to Maximum Libertarian. I am Brian. I've got my buddy over there.
Yep, I'm back, Dean. I'm back here.
All right. What should they do, Dean?
Smash that like button.
Yeah, like and share and all that good stuff. You can go to our social media accounts. On X, we are MaxLib. It's got the blue check mark now. I paid for that. So that way I can live stream and all that cool stuff. I guess we haven't been on for quite a while.
It's been a while. It's been a little bit of a while. A lot of crazy stuff going on. So the election.
Yeah. And now that the election's over, real quick, let's just. I know we're going to talk about Elton John and The Great Mistake, which you'll be able to find the link to the story that we're speaking to down in the description. But Dean, thoughts on the election, real quick.
Well, like I thought would happen, Trump won. I'm actually extremely disappointed in Chase Oliver's campaign and just how it was operating with the LNC and Chase Oliver's campaign. Just a lot of really messed up stuff when it comes to them not really working together. I do see some of the points that the chair Andrew McArdle did. I mean, she did. We're gonna have Ross released. We're gonna have they're gonna say RFK is a libertarian because he signed up. So there's your libertarian in the cabinet, basically. But they are having They are having Elon Musk working with Ron Paul, which that's going to be a good thing. There's some benefits to what's going to happen probably in this next administration that libertarians have sort of won in some things. I just don't like the way that we have pretty much sunk our own ship because of the infighting. Infighting needs to end, and it's just really the biggest threat to our party and the way we are going.
Yeah, I agree with you. The infighting is horrible. I think we'll get into a bigger discussion tomorrow about this because in reality, what the LNC is doing, which I understand, we've been in the LP for a long time now, and granted, we may not have been here since the conception or whatever, but at the same time, you've got to do something different and not just go, hey, vote for us. We're going to get and do a protest vote. We're going to get you 0.5%. We might get you a couple percent in the election, and the needle don't move. The as they're saying, the Overton window, which I completely understand what they're trying to do, but I think there's a special dance they better do, because if they don't, they're going to be walking into a trap, the LP, and then you have individuals who are good libertarians. They get frustrated, they walk away.
Yep.
Either they quit completely, they try to start a new party. And let's think about that. I mean, if you try to start a brand new party, good luck, because we've been here 50 years. Look at where we're at, and we're getting percentages. And yeah, sure, the people are going, hey, we like your idea. I have not talked about a candidate that people don't go, or the party, and people go, yes, I enjoy your party, I like your party, and then all of a sudden what happens is they go, but he's only going to get 1% or 2%, and I like
that didn't even happen, and that didn't even happen. 0.5%. I mean,
right, and
4%. And you don't understand implications of, like, Wisconsin, I believe, that lost ballot access because of that situation. People do not realize the implications of a poor showing. And for certain individuals to say, oh, I did as good as Harry Brown and be in 5th place. We were 5th place.
But yes. And
we got beat by the Green Party and RFK.
Right. RFK took a lot of air out of the room. And RFK, there's things, once again, I like about RFK. I love that the whole going after the pharmaceutical industry. I like pharmaceuticals. I've taken vaccines. I'm not anti-vax, but at the same time, I'd like having questions. You should be able to ask questions on, like, hey, what exactly is going on here? Why shouldn't we be able to ask these questions? But for some reason, people don't like it. And things that RFK is saying now, which he was saying 20 years ago when the Democrats were rallying behind him, well, now all of a sudden, because he's standing beside Donald Trump, he's evil. And, Tulsi Gabbard, a active duty, well, she's National Guard. She's not a Russian asset. I don't care. I mean, if you want me to tell you a Russian asset, throw it's a dime a dozen up there in D.C., who've got political positions and in the military. You would probably be able to find them. I mean, that's just.
There's an old show. It's on Netflix. It was an old series called Designated Survivor. That's actually really good. If you haven't watched it, it's really good. The president that gets thrown in there talks about how Designated Survivor happens, and then the one guy gets thrown in there is actually an independent, and it's a very interesting story and monologue. So if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's pretty good. There's some libertarian ideals in that too. So it's a pretty good. It's more of a drama with politics, but it's pretty good. So just to kick that, I've been watching that. I've been watching that series, so I think it's really good.
All right. Well, that sounds good. But yeah. So let's talk about. So tomorrow we'll get a little bit maybe more into what I was going to, and I'll talk to you offline about that. There's no reason to spoil tomorrow's show right now.
Exactly.
But what we'll do is, let's just get into it right here. So let me silence my phone real quick. Got my Ring doorbell on. So
it's probably those Amazon packages piling up on your front.
It is. And then, of course, my phone don't want to turn off. So let's see if I can get the phone. But yeah, I'll be up. I'm going to go to D.C. We've decided to go to D.C. for the inauguration. I expect it to be a good time. I expect it to be a little wild. That was one of the reasons when I got when I got my X, I said, you know what, I want to get the blue check mark, and that way I can live stream anything.
You never know what's going to happen.
Let's just. I mean, I don't want to be in any violence or anything, nor do I want to see any violence. But hopefully, I would be able to capture one of the more moving moments, like when the lady is on her knees and she's screaming in the air. That always is such a beautiful thing, because you're an idiot. Because I mean, look, what we're seeing with Donald Trump bringing RFK into the thing, was anyone surprised? The only way you're going to be surprised by this would be if you're an idiot. As a libertarian, I'm very black-pilled, and I don't trust nobody. I don't trust anything. It's like, let me see it. I don't care about. I like tax cuts, but tell me about spending cuts too. Yep. Don't tell me about saving Social Security when it's a Ponzi scheme and it needs to be fixed. What they're doing is they're setting up my nieces, your nieces, any child or us, that in a few years it's going to be turned into something like, as Gary Johnson was talking about, a means tested thing. So you're going to go in and say, well, this is how much money I've made. This is how much I got in retirement. It's like food stamps. I can't go and get food stamps. If a person's working full time, most people can't go in there and get food stamps. Now, I know some people can, and that's fine. But that's that's one of the ideas that was floated, was a means tested to get Social Security. So, talk about actually fixing it. Talk about strengthening the dollar would be a nice thing. That would be some good things.
Yeah, the dollar is weak.
It's been weak. It's been like this since 1913 and all that good stuff. So,
little Ron Paul influence may help a little bit, though. We don't know.
but I don't think he's ever said. I think he just made like, "Hey, I'd be interested in helping out" or something.
Well, there's been some stuff out there about Elon wanting to have him actually literally help him. So,
Well, once again, as always, we
we'll
will
see.
see. So, I guess Elton John. I saw this last night. I said, "I've got to talk about this. We need to talk about this." What's his big? The biggest, one of the biggest mistakes that United States and Canada is making right now is he says marijuana legalization is amongst the greatest mistakes of all time. So, if you go down into the story here, it's at Yahoo News. I believe it was The Hill that they took it from. It says, "I maintain that it's addictive. It leads to other drugs, and when you're stoned, and I've been stoned, you don't think normally." He told Time in an article released Wednesday. Legalizing marijuana in America and Canada is one of the greatest mistakes of all times. Elton John has suffered from alcohol and substance abuse. So, initial off the bat, what do you think about that?
First off, I'm gonna tell you, marijuana is not a gateway drug. It's not addictive. It's addictive in the aspect of it actually helps with things. It helps with anxiety. It helps with things. As long as you're not doing things like driving on it or working on this, it's not a harmful substance. It's legal in this state. People buy vape pens with it in it, and I'm around people. I know people. Hell, myself have partaked in it before, and it's not addictive. I'm not on any drugs. I actually don't even do that anymore. But it's just like it's a choice, a personal choice if you want to smoke or not. And it's the biggest problem we have is if you want to fix something about marijuana, legalizing is good because you don't have to get it from the street. And the street's putting fentanyl and everything else inside of it, which kills people. So legalization is actually a benefit than a non-benefit in the aspect of drugs. It's nothing. It really isn't, unless it's mixed with other substances. People mix stuff all the time, so that's where maybe he was getting mixed stuff. Maybe he was mixing stuff with other drugs. But marijuana as a plant itself, it's not. I think Elton John is wrong in this.
Well, you can't say that he's wrong because maybe to him it was addictive.
Well, it's a personal choice, right?
No. I'm really talking about if maybe for him and his body, whatever DNA and all that stuff. When he smoked it, it was addictive to him.
Correct. Everybody's different.
Like you might smoke at one time, go, "I got a headache," as Charles, I remember saying years ago, saying he just smelling it would give him a headache. But he would legalize it. Myself, I've never done it. I would legalize it so it could be tested for those that need help. I think it needs so that way they can get to it. I think it's kind of silly that it's on the hardcore drug level. But as me and you've discussed in the past, legalization of all drugs would be on the table. Would happen under me because there are drugs that like psilocybin out of mushrooms and things of that nature, which helps PTSDs. We're sending our troops overseas to fight these foreign wars, but when they come home, we tell them to pick up an opioid or alcohol or cigarettes or anything else, but don't do anything that can help maybe possibly change your get your mind right. You know what I'm saying?
This is not an actual. This is just a vape pen, but this is not a marijuana one. But this is the type of pens. Let me put it that actually are people have the THC and the marijuana in. So it's becoming a safer option for people to utilize it, not have to roll it. And it doesn't have the scent that marijuana has, too. So right. You actually don't smell this.
So let's just go down here a little bit more into the story. While marijuana is still Schedule 1, the DEA states that the country may have either approved or consider approving the recreational sale, blah, blah, blah. Like right here, the Biden administration announced in May it was going to reschedule marijuana to a Schedule 3 from a Schedule 1 designation that has been held for 50 years. And then right here, you're talking about, it says, however, opponents point to information from the CDC and prevention, which says marijuana directly affects the parts of the brain responsible for memory, learning, attention, decision-making, coordination, emotion, and reaction time. Long-term or frequent cannabis use can be linked to increase in psychosis or schizophrenia in some users, and the risk is developing cannabis use disorder even greater for people beginning to use it before age 18, which professional wrestler Rob Van Dam talked about, which I never knew. But RVD, who is a big cannabis supporter, he made a comment. He said that most people should not do drugs because the brain don't stop developing until 27. Now, is it fully developed? I assume for the most part, it's by 27, it's almost there, but it's not. It finishes at 27. So he said, in reality, we shouldn't be doing anything until that time, which is an interesting thing. People always talk about following the science, and I think we should follow the science and maybe but this is where really by being legal, you could have an actual discussion.
Right.
You know, if you just saw here recently, yesterday, Biden did 150 pardons or 1,500 pardons. But
he made sure his son was pardoned. That's for sure.
One of which I would have done the same. I mean, if it would have been my niece, if I would have had a son, yeah, sure, he's a screw up, but you know what? And I'll put money on it. If you were in that position, you would probably have done it too. In reality, unless it was like murder or something like it. So whenever I hear people don't shaking their fist, you know, it's like, I mean, what were you expecting? You know?
Yep.
But one of the pardons was a judge that he got in trouble, and from what I was listening to, he got in trouble because he went to jail because he was sending kids who would do drugs to a whatever type of facility, right? Well, and it got found out he was getting paid to send these. So it's legal, and you don't get in trouble. It's like me going out and having a beer. If I get caught DUI, they arrest me, they put me in jail, so forth and so on. But if they put me and you, but if we get just drunk in public, you know, there's a lot more easier way out of things unless I drive drunk and kill somebody.
Correct. And you're not going to get drunk off one beer.
No, but, you know, there's not that I drink and drive, but you know, you don't get in if I get caught with marijuana, possibly in some states now, you might get in some type of trouble. And I think that's one thing about, you know, but the kid got sent to jail, and then he, whatever happened, he killed himself.
Oh, geez.
Biden, you know, I guess it screwed up a lot of kids, but Biden, because of his pardons, because I think he also pardoned a lady, because it was on Newsmax, or I'm sorry, News Nation, and they were talking about a lady got pardoned who had stolen money from the government, like $54 million.
Good Lord.
And she had been a comptroller, but she said she was making all her money from the horses, and the way she was giving back to the community was through working public service. And that's where she was stealing all her money. And no Republicans, no Democrats were saying, hey, let's release her. But he, for some reason, released her from the jail pardon. So congratulations to that lady, and the judge that sent the kids to jail for doing dope, you know, as he got paid. That's always a nice thing.
Yep.
You know what I'm
saying? Corruption at its best.
Yeah, but let's get back to the point. You know, Elton John said that it was saying, and I think it's something fine. I've never done marijuana, and I know we've talked about this before. And one of the guys made a comment. I think he was one of your friends. He said, oh, what's that guy making any comments about that for? He's never done drugs. I was like, yeah, so what? But I mean, I'm repeating what, like when I heard the doctor who used to come to the RVL meet, the Roanoke Valley Libertarian,
Yep.
and he said there's been ODs on marijuana, but the problem is where we don't study it, you don't know about it, and so forth and so
The
on.
ODs on marijuana have been
That was his thing. So like you might do marijuana, not have no issues with it. I might do it and go balls to the wall, and now I'm off to the races. So it's the same way with me picking up an beer. I can drink 5 beers, and then I don't drink 5 beers for weeks. All right, cool. But you might be that guy. I pick up 1 beer, and I'm off to the races, and now you're into hard liquor, and you're driving drunk and blah blah. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, exactly. It affects everybody differently.
Yeah. So in turn, I'll never say that it's not addictive, because I would say alcohol's not addictive. But then because it don't affect me the same way, where I would say sugar's addictive, because I've had the moments where I'm like, I got to eat a piece of cake, or as you can see from the heavier face. You know what I'm saying? That's just reality. I would say that's more addictive than alcohol.
True.
But once again, let's go back. So let's go over here on. I just Googled Colorado since legalizing weed. So let's pull that up right there. So this is just Google, and it says marijuana only exposure increased 185% from 2013, when recreational marijuana was legalized, compared to 2020. As you can see, it says marijuana for all ages decreased. Let's see, treatment for marijuana use for all ages decreased 34% from 2013 to 2020. The percent of suicide incidences in which toxicology results were positive for marijuana has increased from 14% in 2013 to 29% in 2020. So right there's a bad number.
Yep.
But it happens. I mean, look at alcoholism,
Exactly. Everything has a problem. Diabetes from sugar. Everything has an addiction.
Yes, absolutely. So look, we can just go down here. How much money has Colorado made from weed since legalization? Sales statewide surpassed $15 billion since legalization. The state has collected about $2.6 billion in tax and fee revenue since 2014. With proceeds from its 15% retail marijuana sales tax share with local governments, some of which, like Denver, collect their own marijuana tax. Once again, we go back to here's states. It's like lottery. They say it's a tax on the poor because the poor plays the lottery more than the rich do.
No, that's not true either.
No. There's enough studies. I think we'd have to. We could.
I've seen enough poor people play the lottery, and I've seen a lot of rich people play the lottery.
No. Look,
I work in a gaming facility that does lottery, so I would know.
But I think if in the average, I think if you would have a higher percentage of richer people staying out. I'm not saying rich don't play. I'm not saying gambling's only for poor and middle class. You understand what I'm saying, and I think that's something we can discuss later on too. So let's just do a mental note on that one. Is Colorado losing money? It says Colorado marijuana sales and tax dollars are still falling. The rise of intoxicating hemp may be to blame. Sales peaked in Colorado at the 2021 budget year when they collected $424 million in taxes. That fell to $248 million last year. So honestly, I think governments, as we've seen before, they tax it so high, people can grow it at home, or they can get it off the black market. So in turn, they increase the black market. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because of these stupid taxes, everyone goes, "Oh, we're gonna let's bring marijuana, let's legalize it, then we can pay for all the schools and roads and all these wonderful ideas and things." And reality is that don't happen. What they do is they not only do they tax it really high, then they go and they say, "Let's just keep the other tax that we've got going on." So they don't lower nobody's taxes. We just keep getting screwed over a barrel.
The government just keeps collecting money, basically.
Absolutely. Right. Say, what are the DUI rates? Let's see, it remains steady. It's about 15% of all DUI arrests in the state of Colorado involve marijuana in some way. That's about, I guess that's good. Let's see. Has Colorado benefited from legalization? Data shows the sky has not fallen, workplaces are safer, and the economy has flourished. Nearly 8 years have passed since Colorado voters approved legalizing and regulating marijuana for adults, and more than 6 years have passed since adult use stores opened in 2014. Does that surprise you, Dean?
Not at all. Not at all.
How much tax is on weed in Colorado? A 15% retail tax. I think we talked about that, and it said that Denver has its own. And retail marijuana infused products, the state charge final consumer price purchase price. Is there any other ones there? Let me see. Why is weed tax so high? Let's see. The cannabis excess tax goes towards state spending on such things as environmental cleanup, law enforcement, and drug prevention programs.
Go figure where it would go to.
Yeah,
police state.
Well, I get it, but don't. It's almost like smoking. It's like when they go, "Hey, let's put taxes on us smoking, and then we'll pay for this by the smokers, and the smokers can pay for this with just a little, so just a little 1%. It ain't gonna." And then they add another percent because we need to pay for the children. Dean, don't you support the children? And what about this? And then they don't do nothing.
Exactly right.
What the hell are we doing here?
Shooting ourselves in the foot.
Absolutely, it is. So let's just wrap it up because we're getting into that. Let's see. We'll go back to Mr. Elton John, legalization, and let's just add it. So once again, Elton John says marijuana legalization is amongst the greatest mistakes of all time by the United States and Canada.
As he would say in his song, he's just a candle in the wind.
Yes, thank you. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. I think people should take it, go to these links, look it up. Once again, I don't do drugs. I would tell anybody if you ever, because I've seen drugs damage lives. You've seen, I've
ever.
But I would rather it be legal. It's like prostitution. I'd rather it be legal because you can protect the worker and the buyer, the seller,
Yep.
Because they're not going to be in fear to go into cops for help.
Correct.
I think when you make a thing where, when you have a law where people are afraid to go for help, when another law has been broken, then I think we need to reevaluate everything. So in turn, legalization, I would legalize everything. And once again, legalizing everything don't mean I'm giving a green light to go do it. It's more or less me saying, hey, let's make sure it's clean and safe, and let's not tax them into oblivion, just bombard them because they got an addiction.
Right.
I say, let's, it's frustrating to me, but you know it, I know it. So we're at that 30-minute mark, Dean. I guess we're going to go on and wrap it up for today. Don't log off after I log off. I'm talking to you, Dean.
I know.
Everybody else can log off So once again, thank you for hanging out with us during this live stream. We're going to start doing this. I guarantee you we're going to start doing it here a lot more. We'll get our schedule balanced out, and otherwise I'm going to give Dean the code so he can do it on his own, hopefully, if I can't do it. And yeah, so until next time, I am Brian.
I'm Dean.
And we will see you later. Like and subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And Dean,
smash that like button.
That's right. So until next time, I'm Brian. That's Dean. See you later. I got a little nervous because I haven't done it in a while. Goodbye, everybody.